It's slow. Let me turn that off. It's slow as hell. Let me turn off the Wi-Fi because it's slow as I don't know what this is slow. Anyway, let's see here. Let's see if that helps. Yeah, I find it fascinating sometimes how like the reception be. This may be a little better. Let's do some riffs. Let's do some spontaneous mastering frequency is assaulted to the degree that it is assaulted because of what you can produce if you do. Okay. So, and if it's not serving, the toxic agenda, then that's, anyway. So let's do it. Let's riff some hacks. So bear with me. I'm just taking a few cleansing breaths. Abracadabra. Why am I wealthy and prosperous, abundant? Why am I so easily a magnet for the cash flow of money? Why am I so loved, supported, honored, acknowledged? Why am I vindicated? Why am I so healthy, whole, fit, vibrant? Why am I so easily able to alchemize any and everything that shows up in my reality? Why am I such a powerful alchemist with ease and grace, effortless? Why am I so beautiful, blooming, blossoming, blissful? Why am I so strong, so assertive, bold, and courageous? Why am I so easily those things? Why am I so comfortably those things? Why am I so intelligent and creative at navigating whatever world, realm, reality, situation I may be in all now moments? Why am I respected? Why am I so blissful, so joyful and triumphant? Why am I so zen? Why am I so why am I so easily able to maintenance my frequency with je ne sais quoi? Why am I? Why am I aligned? Why are my chakras and my feminine and my masculine energy within my energy body? Why is my chakra systems, my meridians, the flow of elements in perfect unison and alignment? Why is that easy? And why is it easy for me to do it anytime there's a misadjustment? Why am I able to easily adjust? Why am I so easily able? How does it get more blissful than this? Why is my mind so sharp? Why is my mind so clear and congruent? Why is my brain whole, healed, vibrant, and operating at its highest capacity? Why am I youthing with every breath, that I take, every step that I take? Why am I youthing, growing, more vibrant, more virile, strong, lean, flexible? Why? Why am I? Why do I have so many honorable, benevolent, aligned options for all of my life's goals, aspirations? Why do I have so many readily available options that serve and honor and fully accept me? Why do I have such loving, transcended, evolved, enlightened friendships, partnerships, business partners, connections? Why do I magnetize that? Why do I have these connections? Why do we synchronize and meet so easily and effortlessly with grace and elegance? Why, why am I? You all can join and do your version. Why am I a good mother, a good parent? Why are my children? Why is my son? Why is my daughter? Why is my son healing, liberated, and free from demiurge? Why is my son protected and honored in all realms and planes of existence? Why is my son enlightened and freed with ease and grace and operating in his full sovereignty and coherence? Why has my son escaped the reincarnation mimicry bullshit? Why is my son energy being cleansed and purified in every moment, in every now moment? Why is he guarded and protected? Why is he honored and loved and respected? Why is his energy being purified? Why is he vindicated? And why is he being so easily receiving restitution, financial restitution in his life in every now moment? Why is he receiving money, property, deeds to properties, deeds to vehicles? Why am I receiving? Why do I easily receive? Why am I being given? Why is he being given houses, cars, apologies, public apologies from all who owes it? Why why are the courts and the judicial system bending and turning to honor and in favor of my son and me? Why does that illegal watch list that we're placed on, why is that suddenly disappearing and being rectified for with je ne sais quoi? Why is the MK Ultra, MK Naomi being shut down entirely, bitch? Why is it being exposed and shut down? Why every clone off of my son and me being erased? Why is this easily done? Why are we destroying and uncreating? Destroying, uncreating, and creating? Why are me and my son, or why are we perfect alchemists, supreme? Why is our biofield graduating instant, constant adjustments according to our oversoul with ease, buffering, shielding, purify, aligning, strengthening, building, soothing? Why are we fully embodied in our body? And why are we so easily able to stay coherent and within our own energy, hearing external noises from within? Why? Why are we so loved, cared for? Why do we receive such kindness and generosity and gentleness, compassion? Why are we accommodated whenever and wherever we need to be accommodated for whatever reasons we require it? Why are we accommodated with integrity in our lives? Why have we powerfully retrieved every aspect and fragment of our soul and energy? Why do we so easily call our energy and power from every energy vampire without a blink? From every reptilian, arconian, draconian, every leechy, predatory energy. Why do we retain, stabilize our energy and our nervous system? Why is our nervous system being stabilized easily in a world full of narcissists and narcissistic regimes? Why? Why do we easily purify our energy just as sure as shit we wash our face and brush our teeth? Why am I a master alchemist, alchemizing all elements and energies with ease and grace and precision? Why am I so focused, able to shift my focus while being in neutrality and acceptance? Why am I neutrality? Why am I neutrality? Why am I so easily 0 point? Why am I neutrality? There it is. Why am I neutrality? Why am I aligned and earth into Earth's original resonance? Why am I grounded into Earth's original resonance? Why am I so easily rooted and grounded into Earth's original resonance? Why am I neutrality? Why do I easily adjust into neutrality? Why? How am I so easily adjusted into neutrality? How am I so easily earthed and rooted in Earth's original resonance? Why? How? Why do I so easily alchemize and transform and course correct and correct all damage done to me? My DNA, my RNA, my bodies, all of my bodies, with elegance and sophistication and quantum cosmic intelligence. Why are people defending my honor now? Why are people speaking the truth and standing up and defending me and my son's honor now? Why is that being done? Why are judges, lawyers, doctors, police officers, government officials, famous individuals, why are these people now standing and speaking the truth? Why is the scheme to sacrifice my son and I fully exposed around all planes of existences to all? Why is all corruption and all various spaces and places that are involved with it, why are they all exposed now? Why are they all seen? Why are all relationships and interconnections with other relationships all brought to the light for all to know and see? With precision, accuracy, proof, and facts. Why are people that was once against me now starting to see, look at that, as truth? Why are they now seeing through their own accurate sight truth versus what they were given? Why are all those who are stalking and harassing me and my son getting exposed and going to jail? Why is this rapidly being done on all realms and planes of existence? Why are they all getting caught? Why are those who are using their positions of power, authority, and exploitation of all programs, why are all those that are participating in that getting caught, going to jail, and losing their jobs? Why is this rapidly being done? Why is this being done? Why has this manifested? Why is it manifesting? Why am I being vindicated? Why is my son being vindicated? Why are we being vindicated and honored for the exploitation of governmental resources? Why is all nepotism and favoritism in such programs being exposed? Why is all the stalking and the secret cyber trolling and stalking and then using their positions and power in these businesses and programs to execute their issues with people that they're stalking in social media being exposed? Why is this exposed? It is exposed. Why is this easily exposed? Why is it easily seen? How is it easily exposed and how is it easily seen? How is justice? Why has justice, true honor, true justice, true benevolence served? What does that look like? Why have I manifested? Why is it so? Why is justice being served for the injustice? For the exploitation of vulnerability, the exploitations of homeless population, the exploitation of the disabled, the exploitation. Why is the exploitation of vulnerability in my life and my son's life being vindicated? By any means necessary. Why have I, why am I wealthy? Why am I rich? Why do I have my perfect home, dwelling space that honors and supports me and my son for who we are and what we're about and our transcendence, our way of life, our beliefs, our thinking? Why do I have such a home, such a place? Why do I have such a debt-free, a debt-free home, dwelling, vehicle that's perfect, modern, new, honoring, strong, all of those things in honor to us. Why do I have that? Why do I have the bomb diggity? Why do I love myself? Why do I accept myself? Why do I love and accept myself even through all that I'm saying in this now moment, when it's the in between, in the meantime, tween time, while it's manifesting in matter? Why do I love and accept myself? Why do I? How do I? What does it look and feel like to vibrate and res with loving, honoring, and respecting and accepting my whole self? Why do I honor my body? How do I honor my body? Why do I easily honor my body? Why do I easily honor my body? And whatever doesn't allow me to do that, I would destroy and uncreate that times gazillion. And why do I destroy and uncreate it times gazillion? Right or wrong, good or bad, pocket pot, all night, short, boys, focus, crazy, base, and else. Why am I joy, full of joy, 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 down in my heart, in spite of being around snakes? Why am I manifesting a whole new world? Why am I in the perfect location that feeds, that nourishes, that honors, that supports my son and I energetic system, that is benevolent, that is kind, compassionate, intelligent, empathetic, patient? Why am I in the perfect space, land, location, and reality? Why do I easily manifest that? Why do I easily manifest travel? Why do I easily manifest the means to do it? Why do I easily manifest whatever resources I want when I want them? Why do I easily manifest even self-adjustments while I'm waiting for my manifestation? Why do I easily manifest even neutrality when things don't go my way instantly in my reality? Why am I neutrality in every now moment? Why do I adjust to neutrality while fully accepting my emotions, while fully accepting my thoughts, while fully being embodied in the moment and allowing the energy to be? Why am I neutrality? Why am I able to quickly alchemize in every now moment according to every now moment? Why do I protect myself? Why do I protect my son? How do I protect myself? How do I protect my son? Mentally, spiritually, energetically, vibrationally, emotionally, financially, personally, professionally, in every way, shape, form, or fashion, in all realms, planes of existence, and dimensions. Why am I protected from density, from the unconscious, the anti-conscious, the ignorant? Why am I protected from the demiurge? Why am I protected from the archon, the reptilians, the draconians, and their NPC agent Smiths? Why am I revered? Why is my son revered? Why do we get our way when our way is in alignment with our highest over soul and honor and love and support to us? Why does nations, ordinances, people, places, and things sovereignly and benevolently bend Why is that? How is that? And what does that look like? What does that feel like? And in every moment, in the void and in the in between time, meantime, unknown, before things materialize into matter, why am I in full on acceptance, full on embodiment, full on sovereignty, coherence, full on awareness, and full on joy and neutrality? Why am I so easily able to register as vibrational and energetic gray rock, becoming an ultimate narcissist repellent poison? Why? Why am I so easily able to adjust? Why am I so easily able to recover? Why do I so easily heal and rebuild? Why do I so easily regain focus when I lose it? Why am I so easily able to? Why am I a powerful alchemist? Why am I able to quantumly adjust neuroplasty? Why am I able? Why am I such a powerful master of elements? Even if my consciousness can't catch up with what I know subconsciously, why am I powerful? In the meantime, between time, before things materialize into matter. Why am I my most youthful, vibrant, sexy self? Why am I hashtagging reverse Benjamin Button? Why am I full on authority, reclamation of my sovereignty? My blood, the water in my body. Why am I alchemizing it and programming it for true evolution, wholeness, full on remembrance? Why am I doing this so easily? Why am I doing this like involuntary second nature? Why is it so ingrained that it becomes like breath? That it's like breathing in and out, that it's like walking, that it's like all those involuntary things in which we do. Why is alchemizing such as for me? Why? How? What does it look like? What does it feel like? What does it look like to and feel like to sense and to be both aware, but the power to choose to attune into the benevolence, to choose to be both aware, but activating choice as to bring consciousness to that in which I intend. Why am I able to adjust my focus? When tantruming adult man childs and and women childs in the Americas are giving it all they have to get a rise out of me, to get a spike, to get attention, to get irritation, something. Why am I so easily able to shield up, block, drop, stop, and redirect in every now moment according to whatever the moment is and what it warrants? Why am I so easily, effortlessly Why am I so easily and effortlessly powerful with instant alchemy, with instant readjustment, with instant buffers, shields, with instant redirection of thought and attention? Even when they're tantruming, pointing in my face like the 3-year-old. I'm not touching you. 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 Why do I keep my composure when it's in my favor and honor to do so? Why do I keep my composure so easily? Why do I speak up boldly when it is in my favor and honor to do so easily? Why do I know when to hold them, when to fold them based on my higher oversoul resonance so easily? Why do I easily align and adjust of knowing when to hold them, when to fold them, and when to walk away? According to my oversoul, out of sovereign guidance, benevolent guidance from within. And when things seem to annoy and things seem to drag and when things seem to be slow to materialize, why am I so powerfully able to even adjust to that with grace and elegance, strength, je ne sais quoi? Why am I flexible to other options and opportunities? What other possibilities might there be? Why am I so easily able to do that when one thing doesn't work? The possibilities of something, and how does it get better than this? How does it get more blissful than this? When one opportunity doesn't permit, why do I easily manifest an even greater honoring one? Why do I easily adjust my perception of weight? Why do I take honorable, sovereign, guided action when action is required and warrants? And then when there is no further action in any now moment, why am I so easily able to shift my perception about the in-between time, meantime? Why does my breath, when I take moments to practice any type of mindful breathing technique, why do I do that so easily, effortlessly, and powerfully? And why is it so effective? Why is it so powerful at adjusting my nervous system, regulating my nervous system? Why is it so powerful with clearing debris and stagnant energy, leechy energy, algorithms, matrix shit? Why does it assist so powerfully with clearing all that? Why am I reprogramming my neurons as I speak so easily? Why am I rewiring my brain in real time? Why am I easily and effortlessly rewiring my brain in my favor and honor to its highest probability and functionality in this now moment and every now moment? Why is my brain being alchemized right now? Why is my brain experiencing neuroplasty right now? Why left now, up now, in this now, in every now moment? Why am I open to all kinds of possibilities? Why am I such an open person to all things that serves and honors my oversoul? Transcendence, sovereignty, autonomy, coherence. Even if it's something that maybe I didn't come here naturally scripted with, but why am I so easily able to deconstruct? And why am I easily able, effortlessly, powerfully, elegantly able to deconstruct not only just the typical, maybe philosophical, spiritual, religious, or political bents, but why am I so easily able to decompress or deconstruct all things that has lost resonance with my transcendence, that has lost resonance with evolution, enlightenment, and full-on sovereignty and coherence, autonomy? Even if it's something that once upon a time I held near and dear. Why am I easily able to alchemize what that does to the consciousness, mind, body, and soul, the process of that? Why am I so easily able to align into a state of full on seeing something as is and full on acceptance without void of any attachments, void of the judgments, void of the stories? Why am I so easily able to let go? Identity, labels, people, places, things, hopes, goals, dreams, aspirations. Why am I why am I so easily able to let go? But why am I so easily able to hold on when holding on is in my honor and favor? Why do I easily know the difference between those? Why do I easily discern that? What does that look like? What does that feel? What does that feel like? What does that feel like? Why am I able to experience now moments in my life aligned in my intuition and trusting myself? Why do I trust myself? How do I trust myself? What does it look like? What does it feel like to trust my own guidance, to trust my body, to trust the signals, to trust the things with a grain of salt, and that salt being governed by my oversoul? Why do I easily attract friendships, partnerships, and connections with folks who are tapped into their humanity, they're tapped into their sovereignty, and who easily acknowledges when they've made a mistake pertaining to me? Why do I easily manifest reciprocal relationships, reciprocal, full on folks that's transcendent, folks that, why do I easily attract and easily, effortlessly co-create and manifest and draw in enlightened beings, seen and unseen, human and unhuman, embodied and disembodied, known or unknown? Yeah, that's Let me see some. Let's see. Let's get some energies. Get some clearing. Why do I rapidly clear out chaotic static? Why do I easily and effortlessly reset and bring clarity to my pineal? Why am I easily unhooked from Draco? Why do I destroy and uncreate, neutralize all malignant mesh? Why have I been easily withdrawn and taken back all energy I've invested in egregores? To the benevolent ones, here you go. Oh, give it to giving him heart. I miss the cat. I miss his Osiris and Boo Boo. Why? Why am I healing my heart? Why is my frequency and my resonance and my vibration vibrating both left and right hemisphere, masculine and feminine, give, receive, alchemy, alignment with love? Not false love, but with the essence Why am I free? Why am I so easily liberated and so easily free and walking, talking, living, breathing, sleeping, dreaming with every breath, with every inhalation, with every exhalation, with every step left, right, in all moments? Why am I embodying and conscious aware and activating my own freedom and liberty? Why am I easily free and liberated to be me? Me being my true nature, my authenticity, my essence. Why am I comfortably, effortlessly, easily, free, liberated, mind, body, and soul? Why am I free? How am I free? Why am I liberated? How am I liberated? What does it look and feel like to be liberated? full-on autonomy, absolute autonomy. So now I'm going to do another hijack, but I'm going to implement a numerical code. One that's regarding calling the essence or your energy back to you, forth to you, now to you, from all directions. I'm going to use the numerical code 45 times. There's supposed to be a significance with 45. Okay. Abracadabra. I'm going to add Reiki for this part too, because I want to add in the element, all directions of time, space, all moments, all dimensions. Call forth my energy and I call forth my power. I call forth my soul fragments in every hour. I call forth my energy. I call forth my power. I call forth my soul fragments and essence in every hour, now and forevermore. So let it be. I command 1, 2, 3, 4. My energy forth now to me from all directions of time and space and reality, cleansed entirely with love and light and truth and violet flame through the reality. 10845, 10845, 10845. Command, universe, 10845, 10845, code 10845, 10845, 10845, 10845, 10845, 10845, 10845, 10845, 10845, 10845, 10845, 10845, 10845, 10845, 10845. 10845, 10845, 10845, 10845, 10845, 10845, 10845, 10845, 10845, 10845. 10845, 10845, 10845, 10845, 10845, 10845, 10845, 10845, 10845, 10845. 10845, 10845, 10845, 10845, 10845, 10845, 10845, 10845, 10845, 10845. 10845, 10845, 10845, 10845, and 10845. Abracadabra. Shukri, Seiki, Bones, Eyes, Vision, and I will go create and manifest. I will go rock. Command 1, 2, 3, 4. Great. I send love to all benevolent beings who are setting those intentions, working on their energy, I send. May you be well. May you create the strength from within in every moment. And may you experience the rest, the tranquility, the serenity. May you experience kindness, true, sovereign, authentic, and sincere kindness. Namaste.